Alrighty, good morning to everybody. Good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. My name is CJ. What's going on, guys? It's the CJ Curry Show. Presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks making daily fantasy easy. All you do is pick your favorite stars from your favorite sports. Choose 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 different players. Go more, go less. Win up to 25 times your money in one night. And right now, PrizePicks is running a 12 Days of Picksmas promo. Great time for you to jump in. Obviously, today's Taco Tuesday, so you're going to see some discounted projections on the PrizePicks board all day long, starting with our first one, which is Julius Randle and his points. We'll talk about that one in just a minute and get our thoughts on whether we should be taking it or not. Sometimes it's better to just take the under on the original prop line. But nonetheless, PrizePicks, again, totally changing the game when it comes to daily fantasy sports. So use promo code Curry if you haven't played on PrizePicks before, you want to get started. Your first deposit is instantly matched up to 100% and $100. So every dollar you put in up to $100, they're going dollar for dollar matching you the entire way, making your first entry on PrizePicks totally risk-free. This first bet's going to be on the house. So use code Curry. I've left a link down in the description of today's video. Go check it out if you're not already playing on PrizePicks. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all the new subscribers. We've grown quite steadily here over the last few weeks, over the last couple of months since the NBA season has started, and I've been back in the swing of things. I appreciate all the continued support. Over 7,300 subscribers. I can't thank you enough. So I just want to tell you again that I am grateful to have you here. Speaking of having you here, everybody in the chat, thank you for being here as well. Thanks for joining me today. We've got a nice little medium size, kind of on a smaller size NBA slate, but again, with Taco Tuesday underway, it should be a fun day and a great way for us to get back to some profits. But let's run through the chat real quick. We've got 810 Stoke M in the building, says Taco Tuesday. Let's get it. Javion Cash says, I'm here and I see you. Thank you for being here. Chris Raptor says, good morning. It's a beautiful morning and cold. Yeah, it's a little chilly here too in Tampa, Florida. No doubt about it. Charlie Ortiz is liking some Klay Thompson. Yeah, he's definitely the thumbnail player of the day. I chose him as my thumbnail player of the day because I think Klay Thompson might be in for a good night tonight. We'll just have to see. Bearded Gators in the building. Good morning to you. We've got Jezreel Bell says, let's get this money, fam. Love the energy. Love that mindset. Everyday Fantasy says, what it do, fam? 2 straight days of 25x. If you're not in Patreon, you're losing out. Smash the like button. He brings up 2 good points. One, if you want to join the community, it's a great time to do so. Just $20 a month. All you have to do is win a single $10 2-pick power play over the course of the entire month to get your $20 back. Like, it's almost free. All right. I'm almost making it free for you to join Patreon to be a member. You just got to win $20 over the course of the entire month. You pay yourself back that $20. Boom. You're free rolling for the rest of the month. You get access to a private Discord channel with lots of like-minded players who are in there sharing their favorite picks, props, information, research, and entries on PrizePicks. So like Don P says, get your butts in Patreon, help support the show. And I thank you for all of the support through Patreon. Also, he says, smash the like button. Let's run those likes up to as many as we can. I know it's a smaller NBA slate, but guys, do your best. All right. I can only hit the like button so many times myself, only once. All right. So I need your help. I need your support. All the likes really go a long way. Jado SR says, y'all like this taco? Talking about the Julius Randle taco. We're going to definitely get into that and see if we're liking that taco or not. Wesley Winston, what's up, boss man? What's up back to you? Yes, the Jonas Valanciunas rebound prop that you super chatted yesterday. Hopefully some people tailed that. Hopefully some people saw that pick when we broke it down. We talked about Larry Nance Jr. being out, obviously Brandon Ingram being out, and Valanciunas' rebound rates, as far as his hit rates go, soared right through the roof without Nance, without Brandon Ingram. So shout out to Wesley Winston leaving that super chat yesterday. I appreciate that. And it happened to be a very good pick with Valanciunas, who absolutely crushed yesterday. If you played any Valanciunas props, well, you probably made some money. Tony Ruiz says, what is up? Happy Taco Tuesday. Tony, thanks for being here. Joseph Thomas says, let's cash, been on a 7-day winning streak. Need to keep that going. Need a slip to tail today, big dog. Woof, woof. We'll see what we could do. Lamar Davis says, good morning, happy holidays. Yeah, happy holidays to everybody out there. It's crazy to think that we're just 5 days away from celebrating Christmas. So Happy holidays to everybody. Man, Christmas is rapidly approaching. Neville Anderson, what's happening? Thanks for being here. Wavy Vision says he's going to be joining Patreon today. I appreciate that. I'm going to say thank you ahead of time in good faith, hoping that you do join. OG Kush says, let's win some money tonight. Your Slim is liking some Bradley Beal. We'll talk about him. Just remind me when we get to that Q&A section. The Truck 472 says, I'm hungry for some money. Let's get it. Are you hungry for some tacos? Are you a crunchy or soft taco type of guy? Truck 472. Lawson Smith, what's good? Good morning to Tyrone. Brian's in the building. We got Hayes, what's good? CJ, profitable day yesterday, I must say. D'Angelo's here. Shout out to you. Jarrell Ellis, good morning, gang. Good morning back to you. We got Captain King, aka the Sniper, if you're in Discord. Appreciate all y'all. And Sabonis. Sabonis was another guy, Wavy Visions. We mentioned Sabonis. We shouted Sabonis out yesterday for his rebounds, for his fantasy score. Sabonis absolutely crushed. I think it was my guy, Everyday Fantasy, aka Mr. Don P, who shouted out Sabonis' dad, Arvydas Sabonis, NBA legend, European basketball legend. Arvydas Sabonis was apparently courtside watching his son, and his son put on. For the family, put on. For his dad, put on. For the Kings, Domantas Sabonis had himself a fantastic day. Fantastic day. And we also mentioned Jordan Clarkson's turnovers. Now tonight, I don't know if I'm on them Jordan Clarkson turnovers once again because Colin Sexton's supposed to be coming back for the Utah Jazz. But we'll get into that in just a moment. We'll talk about all that. But yeah, we definitely unearthed some winning gems here yesterday. So if any of the picks that I threw out there yesterday helped you guys out, smash the like button, all right? Let's run those likes up. Speaking of smashing the like button, we got to pick ourselves a winner. In case you've never been here before, in case you've never tuned in, every single day that I do one of these shows, I am picking a winner from the previous show from the comment section. You just have to be a subscriber, you have to like, and you have to leave a comment with your favorite pick of the day. Now, what do you get for doing those things? You get a risk-free 2-pick power play on PrizePicks to win up to $100. So you get both of those picks right. Get both of those picks right in the 2-pick power play, you'll get $100. So I'm giving away one free entry per day every time I do one of these shows. All right, so let's pick today's winner. Let's get on to it. All right, I've already got the comments from yesterday's show loaded in. We had a total of 37 unique comments left on yesterday's video, yesterday's show. All that's left to do now, hit the start button and hope we pick a new winner. So let's do it. And it looks like today's winner is James LaForche. Thank you so much, James, for leaving that comment on yesterday's video. He was liking the Jordan Clarkson turnovers as well. Said he had played it for the last 3 games. Well, listen, James, you have won yourself a risk-free 2-pick power play on PrizePicks. All you have to do now, send me a DM. You can DM me on Twitter at Curry the Creator, or if you prefer, use Discord. Free Discord link down in the description below. Join Discord, shoot me a DM, and we'll get you set up with that risk-free 2-pick power play on PrizePicks. Hopefully you get both picks right. Hopefully you cash in and win yourself $100. All right, it's $100 in promo credits. Those promo credits can then be flipped into real money, and then you can withdraw them, or you could, roll that up and hopefully turn that into even more money. Turn that $100 into even more money. But yes, James, you're today's winner. So congratulations. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for leaving a comment on yesterday's video. And I also want to thank you for being a Patreon member. I appreciate you. So hopefully you're watching. If you're not, maybe you catch me on the replay, but you're the winner today. So make sure you send me that DM and I'll get you set up with that risk-free 2-pick to win that $100 over on PrizePicks. I see we got our little bot friend in here pretty early today. Let me see if I can take care of them real quick. Just a moment. Let me see if I can get that bot up out of here. So we don't want that bot to distract us, right? Let's go ahead and boop, do that. Boom. All right. Porn bot taken care of. I think we can move on about our day now. All right. Let's talk about today's promo. 12 days of Picksmith still going on PrizePicks. We're on what, day 7 now? Day 7 out of 12. And obviously today is Taco Tuesday. So let's get our scroll on here. Let's take a look at this promotion. Look for Christmas tacos on today's Prize Picks board. So similar to Taco Tuesday, I'm sure. Discounted projections throughout the day. Entry limits may vary by member. So that means like some members, they have a higher limit that they could play these tacos. So for some people, it's like $20. For some, I think it's like 25. I think maybe even for some others, you could go even higher than that on these tacos. But basically, it's a Taco Tuesday type of day. Nothing too crazy. We're all familiar with how Taco Tuesday works. And we've already got one taco up on the board. So we'll talk about that Julius Randle points taco in just one moment. Before we do that, we got to solve today's Larry Birdle mystery player of the day. So this is a current NBA player. We got to figure out in 8 guesses or fewer who this player might be. So today's thumbnail player of the day is Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors. So let's start things off by guessing Klay Thompson. All right, here's what I can tell you. It is not Klay Thompson. Not Klay Thompson, but this player is in the Western Conference, but not in the Pacific Division, which rules out the Golden State Warriors, obviously, the Clippers, Lakers, Suns, and Kings. So this is not a Clipper, Laker, Sun, King, or Warrior. We know that much. This player is not a guard. It's going to be somebody who's taller than 6'6", but younger than 32 years old. So this player could be 31 or 30 years old, it looks like. And their jersey number is going to be a number lower than 11. So we're probably looking at a single-digit jersey number. Could be as low as like a 00 jersey as well. Don't forget about that. All right. So not a Pacific Division player, somebody who's younger than 32, wearing a jersey number below number 11. So we're looking for like a single-digit jersey number. Cannot be a Warrior, cannot be a Clipper, cannot be a Laker. So I'm sorry, but Anthony Davis does not qualify. Anthony Davis is on the Lakers. He's in the Pacific Division. He does not qualify here. All right. Not DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's out east. Not going to be DeMar DeRozan. Damian Lillard, too short. All right. He's below 6'6". We're looking for a player that's taller than 6'6". Probably a power forward, probably a center, someone along those lines. Domantas Sabonis, although a solid guess, he wears jersey number 11 as well. So we know it's a jersey number below 11. It is not Clint Capella. Clint Capella's out east. Jeremy Sochan is a youngster. He could qualify. Possibly Jeremy Sochan. I don't mind that. Let's go there. That's kind of an off-the-grid, off-the-radar type of player. All right. It is not Jeremy Sochan. I could tell you that much. This player does not play for the San Antonio Spurs, but however is in the Southwest Division. Southwest Division, so we know that much, which means we're looking for, could be a Dallas Maverick, could be a Houston Rocket, could be a Memphis Grizzly, a New Orleans Pelicans. Yesterday we had Garrett Temple, very obscure player, but Garrett Temple. But this is a forward or somebody who is a hybrid style player, forward/center, somebody who's a little taller than 6'8" as well. We're looking like 6'9", maybe 6'10". Jeremy Sochan, just 19 years old, way too young. All right, we're looking for somebody who's about 30 to 31. And that jersey number 10, just a little bit too high. We're looking for like maybe a single-digit number or a 00. Let's see what you guys are guessing here. We got Anthony Edwards being thrown out there. I think Anthony Edwards is going to be too short. We're looking for somebody taller than 6'8". So I'm going to have to say no on Anthony Edwards. Keldon Johnson, not Keldon Johnson, because we know this player's not on the San Antonio Spurs. Bol is out east. He's on the Orlando Magic. It is not Bol. I can promise you that. Zion Williamson. Interesting guess. Zion's single-digit jersey number, I believe. He's older than 19, taller than 6'8". Maybe it's Zion. He's in the Southwest, right, on the New Orleans Pelicans. Let's give Zion a guess here. And if it's not Zion, we will go to our silhouette. It is not Zion. Zion is only 6'6". He is too short. So let's see the silhouette. Maybe this will help us out. Who does that look like to you? I think I know who this is, actually. I think that profile picture has revealed who this is. I don't think it's Jared Vanderbilt. I don't think it's Jovic. Jovic is in the East. He's on the Miami Heat. Yes. Yes, Jarrell. Yes, Jarrell. That's who I'm thinking too, Jarrell. Yes. CTM, I see you. That's who I'm thinking. D'Angelo, yes, that's who I'm thinking this is as well. I'm thinking we know who it is at this point. I think it's Aaron Judge's lookalike, Dwight Powell. Boom. All right, so maybe he doesn't look exactly like Aaron Judge, but it is Dwight Powell. You guys are right. You were on the same mindset as me, same track as me. As soon as I saw that silhouette, I kind of got a good feeling that this was going to be a big man. And in this case, I was right. You guys were right. Those of you who guessed Dwight Powell, congratulations. It was Dwight Powell of the Dallas Mavericks, who is a center / forward, 6'10", 31 years of age. And he's rocking jersey number 7 for the Dallas Mavericks. So shout out to everybody who guessed Dwight Powell. All right. Let's go split screen here. Let's go talk about today's NBA slate. Again, appreciate everybody who decided they wanted to spend their morning, their afternoon with me. It means a lot to me, guys. I don't take any of this stuff for granted. So thanks for being here. You guys are all asking about this taco. We'll talk about the taco once we get to that game. Let's run through these games real quick, though. We got Utah taking on Detroit tonight. So Jazz versus Pistons. This game's going to be in Detroit. Nice total of 229.5 points. We talked about Colin Sexton being a game time decision. It looks like Sexton's more likely to play than not play. So we should expect Colin Sexton to be back in the lineup, back in the rotation today for the Utah Jazz. So that's why I said I'm probably staying away from that Jordan Clarkson turnover prop now that Colin Sexton's back in. Less ball handling duties probably for Jordan Clarkson now that Sexton's going to be back in the mix. So I'm going to stay away from that one today, but it has been a great prop. I salute you, Jordan Clarkson. Thank you so much for turning the basketball over 3 or more times for the last 6 games in a row. I think I'm going to back off of it today. If you decide to take it, good on you. Good for you. I wish you best of luck. I'm just going to step off of that one today. But it could hit again. It could. Kelly Olynyk is also a game-time decision for the Utah Jazz. His status, truly a game-time decision. Up in the air right now. We don't know if he's going to play or not. But if he doesn't play, you're going to see more Jared Vanderbilt, Lauri Markkanen manning that front court. Maybe they go with a small ball lineup. Maybe they put Markkanen at center with Vanderbilt, Sexton, Clarkson, and Conley. Or maybe Malik Beasley joins the starting lineup. We'll have to see. On the Detroit side, Isaiah Livers is out, which means nothing, really. It doesn't mean a whole lot. I will point out, for those of you who like narratives, it's another revenge game. We saw Donovan Mitchell take on the Utah Jazz last night. Well, now you got Bojan Bogdanovic, former Utah Jazz member himself. Now he's with the Detroit Pistons, obviously. Bogdanovic has had himself a pretty darn good year this year, especially when it comes to scoring the basketball. He's up to 21.5 points today. He's been on a nice little hit streak of 22 or more points in 4 straight games. So you got 38, 24, 22, and 26 points. Does he keep it going tonight against his former team? Well, nobody knows, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Moving forward to the Chicago-Miami game, 223 points on this one. A lot of injury news to be mindful of when it comes to the Miami Heat. Kyle Lowry, his status truly up in the air. He's a game-time decision at this moment, as is Martin. Looks like Jimmy Buckets is going to play tonight. Dwayne Dedmon joining the Miami Heat as well. Udonis Haslem is another guy, game-time decision, but his absence not really going to be impactful too much. And then Gabe Vincent's out. Omer Yurtseven also out for the Miami Heat. For the Chicago Bulls, looks like Green is a game-time decision. Lonzo Ball continues to sit for the Bulls. So they're going to have their pretty much, the same squad other than Dosunmu. I don't see Dosunmu in the starting lineup, but I would assume if he's healthy, Alex Caruso would get his butt back to the bench and Dosunmu would take over the starting point guard role. But 223 points with a 4.5 point spread. Keep an eye on some of those Miami Heat players, namely, most importantly, Kyle Lowry. Moving down here to the Golden State Warriors New York Knicks game, guys. We've got a 7:30 p.m. Eastern time tip-off. This one should be a fun game, although the Golden State Warriors are dealing with a plethora of different injuries. 221 is the total here with a 5.5 point spread. When I talk about injuries, I'm talking about Steph Curry is out. Andrew Wiggins is out. Andre Iguodala's been out all season long. Dante DiVincenzo, though, is doubtful tonight. Golden State sounds like they're preparing to play without Dante DiVincenzo. So what does that mean? Well, probably more of a role for Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson. You might see Jonathan Kuminga join the starting lineup. Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, manning that front court spot. But it should be a lot of Poole and a lot of Klay tonight. That's what I'm thinking. They're going up against the Knicks. The Knicks are dealing with just one injury issue. It's Obi Toppin. He's already been ruled out tonight. So they've been running their same little five with Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. We talked about Julius Randle. He is the first taco on the board today. He's at 21.5 points. We'll dig into this a little bit deeper, but this is your first taco. It's been, topped with this little Santa Claus hat looking all cute for Christmas. The little taco just looking all scrumptious sitting there. I don't know if it's going to be a tasty taco or not. We'll have to talk about it and dig into it in just a bit. Washington at Phoenix tipping off at 9 p.m. Phoenix, another team with a long list of injury news. So stay on top of the news for the Phoenix Suns. A guy like Devin Booker, obviously, I don't have to say much about this. Devin Booker's a game time decision. Status truly up in the air, but if he sits out, that's going to really shake things up for the Phoenix Suns. On top of that, we got Landell, Okogie, Payne, and Washington. Now, all of those guys look like they're going to play tonight, but Devin Booker, we're not sure if he's in or out. For the Washington Wizards, DeLon Wright, game time decision. Rui Hachimura out, but it looks like they were going to have Monty Morris, Bradley Beal's back in the mix now, Denny, Kyle Kuzma, and Kristaps Porzingis, which has been a starting lineup that they've run quite a bit over in Washington. But a total of 228.5 points with a 7.5 point spread. I like the total. The spread's a little worrisome. I would imagine if Devin Booker sits out, this game ends up being a bit more competitive without Booker, meaning Washington can maybe hang around with Phoenix, maybe make this more of a competitive affair. So we'll just have to wait and see on Devin Booker's status before we touch anything from the Phoenix Suns side. Which brings us to the last game of the night. 10 p.m. tip-off between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Denver Nuggets. We got a couple of superstars, mega stars here, right? Ja Morant for the Memphis Grizzlies, Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets. As far as injury news goes, no Desmond Bane or Danny Green. Those guys have been out for a number of games now for the Memphis Grizzlies, so we're not really too worried about that. Jokic is a game-time decision, but it's likely that he plays tonight. KCP, Jeff Green, Jamal Murray, however, their status truly up in the air at the moment. We're not sure if they're playing or not, a real coin flip type of situation. So you may want to take a flyer for right now on these Denver Nuggets. You may not want to put them in any of your entries until you get confirmation. Is Jamal Murray playing? KCP playing? If not, you'll see guys like Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown probably come to the forefront, right? Bigger role, step up offensively for the Denver Nuggets. So love the total on this game though. 234 points with just a 1.5 point spread. I believe it's the highest total game of the night at 234. Yeah, it's a big one. 234 points with a 1.5 point spread. So that one's got some good potential for us to maybe take some overs if we target the right ones. Anyways, appreciate everybody. I see Noah saying that he just joined Patreon. Thank you for supporting the show, my friend. Yeah, you have access now to anything that I post on Patreon. Plus, you have access to a whole host of private channels in Discord. There's some free channels in Discord that anybody can access, but then there's private channels for Patreon members only. All you have to do is connect your Patreon and Discord account together, and then you'll get access to everything. You'll receive the patron role in Discord, which unlocks access to all channels that we have. So that's how you do it. Send me a DM if you have any questions. This is not the time nor the place for me to try and troubleshoot your issues. So we'll get to you. Just send me a DM. I'll help you out. Trust me. All right. Some of you folks are asking who won the free entry. It was James LaForge. So again, congratulations to James. If you guys are just getting here, he won a risk-free 2-pick power play on PrizePicks to score $100. Again, you just have to be a subscriber, smash the like button, and then once I end the show, go to the comment section for today's show, comment your favorite pick of the day, and then you'll randomly be selected for one of these risk-free 2-pick power plays. All right, so let's get into this. You guys are asking about this Julius Randle taco. What do we do with it? Do we take the over, take the under? Do we take maybe the under on his original point line? I mean, that could be another option for you. So let's take a look here at the Julius Randle point situation. We got him at 21.5 for the taco, 24.5 for his regular point prop line. He's going up against the Golden State Warriors tonight. So we're talking Kevon Looney, Draymond Green. Let's dive into this taco here. Let's see if we like what they've put in this taco. I'm a ground beef taco type of guy, but I can go for a chicken taco. But should we play chicken with this taco? Should we dodge this one? Should we be afraid of taking this taco? Maybe. All right, you see what I did there? Brought it all back. I brought it all back. So let's sort using props.cash. Guys, if you're not using props.cash for your player prop research, you're wasting time. You're wasting energy. You're wasting precious moments of your life. Props.cash has just about everything you could ask for, all baked into one site, one app. They've got mobile apps for Android, for iPhone. And if you're not using props.cash yet and you want to start, just $19.99 a month. I could save you 25% off your first month. Use code CURRY when you check out. So taking a look here at Julius Randle at 24.5 points, gang. He has only hit this in 12 out of 30 games. 12 out of 30, that's a 40% hit rate. Fear Shaolin, never fear. I did not miss your super chat. I got you. Just let's talk about this taco real quick. We're talking about this taco real fast, and then I'll get to your super chat. 24.5. That is his OG, original points line. A line that he's only hit in 12 out of 30 games, a 40% hit rate. He's averaging 22.5 points per game. But what I will say about Randle is that over the last 6 games or so, he's really picked up his scoring output. So 24.5 points, 12 of 30, 40% hit rate, 22.5 points per game. Let's take a look at when he's playing on the road versus at home. Let's see if he's scoring more when he's playing in front of the Madison Square Garden crowd, or is he scoring less when he's playing in front of that MSG crowd? At home, 21.7 points per game. So I think that means he's going to be a better road scorer. But let's look at these game logs. At 24.5 points, he's gone over in just 5 out of 14 games. So he's not typically scoring as well at home as he is on the road. Now, I will say we've seen his points per game average climb in the last 10 games from 21.7 for the season at home to 23.3 in the last 10 and even 24.2 in his last 5 games. Now, the last 2 games in particular, 34 points, 27 points have been very good against the Atlanta Hawks and Sacramento Kings, respectively. So what happens when we switch this from home to road? Well, you see his average goes up to 23.3 points from 21.7. So like I said, he's scoring more on a point per game basis on the road than he is at home. His last 6 road games have been very good. 5 out of his last 6, he's gone over 24.5 points. But again, he's not playing on the road tonight. He is playing at home, hosting the Golden State Warriors. So let's go back and look at his let's go back and look at his overall game logs. And we're going to dial this down to his taco point number of 21.5. At 21.5, he's got a 53% hit rate, which makes him 16 for 30. 16 for 30, 53% hit rate. Now, that's a little bit better at 21.5, but it's definitely not free. These tacos are not free squares. Do not get it twisted. Do not get it confused. These tacos are not free. All right? Yes, they're easier or supposed to be easier for the player to hit because they've lowered it by, in this case, 3 points, but not free. Nothing's free with the tacos. This is not a free square. Okay? Now that you know that there's still risk involved, that you're still taking a gamble, let's proceed. So 21.5 points, 16 for 30, 53% hit rate. Let's flip this over to his home splits. At home, 21.5 points, 7 for 14, a 50% hit rate. By no means is this Julius Randle taco free. 50% hit rate this season at 21.5 points. Yes, he has picked it up in his last few games. Yes, he's scoring better recently than he has earlier in the season. But again, it is not free. 7 for 14, 50% hit rate at home. Definitely not a freebie. Not a freebie. Now, what about the Golden State Warriors? How many times has he played the Warriors over the last 2 years? A total of 3 times, right? 3 times in the last 2 seasons. He was 2 for 2 against Golden State last season. He dropped 31 and 28 points against them. But this season, back on November 18th, he played them and managed just 20 points. And that was on the road. And we know on the road, he's typically been a better scorer than at home. So he was in a favorable split situation against this same Golden State Warriors team. Now, maybe Golden State tonight isn't quite the same team. There's a lot of good players out, such as Wiggins, Curry, DiVincenzo's going to be out. But you get the picture, right? Ended up with 20 points, fell shy. One more bucket, he would have been over the 21.5 taco line today. So what about a projection on Julius Randle? What do we think about his projections? Well, let's go look. I got projections. They're presented by Fantasy Labs and Action Labs. So thank you for Fantasy Labs and Action Labs for providing these projections for me to use and show off here on the show. I got him projected for 24.5 points, gang. Even at his taco number at 21.5, that's 3 points higher than 21.5, all right? Easy math, easy math. Now, he is at 24.5 points on all major sports books at the moment. Okay, so we are getting a 3-point discount on this. Again, it is not free, but should you take it? I think you should. Being that the betting public is taking the over at a line of 24.5, we're seeing odds of minus 125, minus 130. You have to take it, but take it knowing, again, that it's not a free square. Not a free square. There's a chance, there's an absolute chance that it could go under. It happens. These tacos are not always rock solid. All right. Just taking a look at one other thing here. DVP, defense versus position. The Golden State Warriors this season against opposing power forwards, they're giving up over 23 points per game. 23.1 to be exact, which is the 6th most points per game to power forwards for the season. Now we're going to take a look at the last 7 games. Is Golden State doing a better or worse job in terms of points allowed to the power forward position? We're going to go down here and take a look. They're giving up about 22.8 points per game, which is still a healthy number. Still not bad, right? Above average when it comes to points to the position. So yeah, I mean, you roll the dice with it. You take the over on Julius Randle at 21.5 points, but I think there's an argument that could be made that you take the under at 24.5 points as well. I think that could be a solid look too. So you could hedge this if you want. You could take one entry where you take the over on the taco, another entry where you take the under on the taco. Again, he just hasn't done a great job at home this season covering his points props. Whether that be 24.5, 5 for 14, 36% hit rate, or if we're talking the taco number at 21.5, 7 for 14, 50% hit rate. Definitely not a free square, okay? You know the risk. So there we go. All right. We got a super chat from Fear Shaolin. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate your support. Let's go ahead and address the super chat right here, right now. He wants to know about some Ja Morant points under, Tyler Herro points over, and then he's also asking, what should we do with Julius Randle's first half? Maybe we go first half for Julius Randle over. Now, he didn't specify which prop. Let me know which prop you're thinking about for Randle on first half, because you could play points, you could play PRA, you could play fantasy score for Randle first half. But let's go ahead and address the first one, which was Ja Morant's points. We talked about how this is a great game situation here. The Memphis Grizzlies taking on the Denver Nuggets. We've already discussed the total here at 234, highest total of the night. It's just a 1.5 point spread. However, we are waiting on news from the Denver Nuggets side of things. Jamal Murray, Jeff Green, and KCP. Those guys are not slouches, right? 2 of those guys are starters. Jamal Murray, the starting point guard. That would obviously impact Ja Morant in his matchup tonight. KCP, he typically starts at the shooting guard spot. So their backcourt is currently up in the air. We don't know their status. We don't know if they're going to play or not. So for me, I like to have more information. I like to know who Ja Morant might be going up against tonight. If it's not Jamal Murray and or KCP, well then, who's going to be stepping in there to guard Ja Morant? Now, if both of those guys are out, I would argue that Ja Morant's matchup tonight gets a lot easier. But this is a guy who has not been clearing 28.5 points with ease lately. In fact, we've seen him go 0 for his last 4. Now, I will say this, he is too good of a player to stay down forever, right? 26 against OKC, 15 against Detroit, 25 against Milwaukee, and then just 6 points against OKC. I think he got ejected in that game. I want to say Ja Morant might have gotten ejected against OKC in that most recent game 3 days ago. But he is well rested, being that he is coming off of a 3-game rest. So let's go take a look here at a larger sample size of games for Ja Morant and these points at 28.5. We'll dig into the matchup. We'll take a look at some projections. We'll try to figure out if Ja Morant over 28.5 points is the right way to go. Again, you're going to look at his recent game logs. You're going to be like, ooh, that is nasty. And it is nasty. It's been bad. This season, 9 for 24, just a 38% hit rate. The last 10 games, ugly at 28.5 points. My guy has only went over twice, meaning that's a 20% hit rate. 2 for his last 10. Not impressive. Does not look good whatsoever. I can understand why you may have a little bit less confidence in Ja Morant lately. How could you not? Being that he's only hitting 2 out of his last 10, just a 20% hit rate, right? What about against the Denver Nuggets this season? Well, this will be the first time, in fact, that he's played Denver this season. So we'll have to go back to last season and look at those games. 3 games played against Denver, 28.5 points. He only cleared it once. Scored 26, 18, and had a big 38-point outburst against the Nuggets. So he's 1 for his last 3, averaging just 27.3 points per game against the Nugs. Now take a look at the defensive matchup here. Denver's defense, there's a lot of green and yellow here, which is a good sign for Ja Morant, right? You want to see that when you're evaluating a matchup. As far as points allowed to opposing teams, they're kind of a middle-of-the-pack average team. Ranking 17th in total points allowed, 29th in field goal percentage, 22nd in three-pointers allowed, 25th in three-point field goal percentage allowed, 13th with free throws allowed, and just 27th against opposing point guards. So there is a lot to like in terms of the matchup here. Getting into the point guard situation, DVP, defense versus position, you go and you find the Denver Nuggets guys are giving up over 27 points per game to point guards this season. That is the 4th highest point per game average to point guards given up by this Denver Nuggets squad. So they have not slowed point guards down. They have not been able to keep these point guards in check when it comes to scoring points against them. 4th most. There's only a couple of teams giving up more points, the Jazz, T-Wolves, and Rockets, than this Denver Nuggets squad. Now, what about in the last 7 games? Have they improved defensively? Are they allowing fewer points, or are they allowing more points to point guards in the last 7 games? Well, they're actually giving up more, and a whole lot more. They now rank number 1. In the last 7 games, no team is giving up more points to opposing point guards than this Denver Nuggets team. 32.7 points per game. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a hype beast. I'm just presenting the numbers as I see them here. But that's quite a bit more. More than 5 points per game average. It is spiked up more than 5 points per game on average, from the season averages to the last 7 games. So they've been giving up a ton, gobs and gobs of points to point guards. So matchup looks really good for Ja Morant. Maybe this is the situation he needs. Maybe this is the matchup that he needs to finally get back on track and snap this cold streak that he's been on. But it looks fantastic. Another way that you could go here is fantasy score, because the Denver Nuggets over the last 7 games giving up more fantasy points to point guards than any other team. So maybe you don't feel good about him just for his points. We know Ja can kind of fill it up in a variety of different ways, right? He can get some blocks or some steals. He can be an assist dropper. He can get some buckets. He can grab some rebounds, right? He can mix it up a variety of different ways. So maybe you don't trust his points on their own because he hasn't been scoring so well. He could very well end up with 25, 26, 27 points, fall short on his points prop, but also have, 8 or 9 assists, 6 or 7 rebounds, a block, a steal or 2. So he could fill it up in a variety of different ways. So you could also consider his fantasy score if you're not feeling too warm and fuzzy about his points. So that could be another option for you. So maybe you go points. I don't hate it. I don't hate the points, besides the fact that he's just been ice cold when it comes to covering 28.5. So let's get you some projections here. Let's look at a variety of different Ja Morant props. And guys, if you want your question answered like I did for Fear Shaolin here, we've talked about Ja Morant. We'll talk about his other ones, Tyler Herro, points, and Julius Randle's first half. Think about super chatting me. Live chat window. Down at the bottom, you'll see a little icon that says like support. You can show your support. You leave a super chat, it highlights your comment. I'll go and do a deep dive research for you right here live on the show like I am with Ja Morant. All right, so Ja Morant's projection. He's at 28.5 points, projected for just 27.4 points. So the projections, not feeling, super strong about Morant's chances of going for 29 or more tonight. So a little low on the 27.4 point projection. He's at 28.5 on the major sports books, though. Now we're seeing some mixed actions, some mixed results here. Some sites he's a betting favorite to go over, like DraftKings at minus 125 odds. Some sites, like on BetMGM, he is a betting favorite to go under at minus 120 odds. So you're seeing the betting public a little unsure about what to do with Ja Morant here. So that's not good. Normally you want to see the action kind of really coming in heavy, like minus 135, minus 140 or better odds. You're not really getting that right here with Ja Morant. You're not getting a point of value like we've seen in previous days either. The matchup looks great. He's been bad at hitting this 28.5 point number. So maybe we look at something like fantasy score, right? We talked about that. His fantasy score today is at 49.5. This is a number that he's hit in 3 out of his last 5 games. Like I said, with that OKC game, he got ejected from that game. So we throw that one out. So really, 3 out of his last 4 games, he's done a pretty good job here at 49.5 fantasy score. Let's take a look at something else here. We'll use StatMuse for this since Props.cash doesn't have support for fantasy score game logs. So we'll go Ja Morant. Make sure you type in and use FanDuel points or FanDuel projections. Logs this season. So we want to take a look at Ja Morant's FanDuel points logs this season. We want to see how many times he's gone over 49.5 fantasy points. All right. Again, got ejected against OKC, played just 16 minutes against them. Prior to that, 54, just like you see here on PrizePicks, 48.2, falls short, close, but no cigar, 61.1, 53. So yeah, 3 out of his last 5 games, he's gone over. And we talked about the Denver Nuggets in the last 7 games, giving up more fantasy points per game to opposing point guards than any other team in the league. So he's at 49.5 here on PrizePicks today. Let's take a look at Fantasy Labs. Let's get a projection on Ja Morant's fantasy score, 48.6. So he's at 48.6 according to FanDuel, 49.5 according to PrizePicks. So I would say take the wait and see approach. I think his matchup gets a whole hell of a lot easier if Jamal Murray and or KCP are ruled out. But 48.6 projection, 49.5 on PrizePicks. That's pretty tight. That's a pretty close line. That's a pretty sharp number that they have Ja Morant up at 49.5. But again, if you see Jamal Murray, KCP out, then maybe you ride with the fantasy score. He's been hitting this a little better than his points in recent games. So that would kind of be my final verdict on that. Taking a look at some of the other ones that you asked about. You asked about Tyler Herro's points. What do we think about Tyler Herro tonight? Well, again, you're going to want to wait and see what's happening. Obviously, Tyler Herro's not up on the PrizePicks board yet, so they're kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen here with this Miami Heat team. You know, who's going to be in, who's going to be out. Obviously, Jimmy Butler looks likely to play, but is currently a game time decision. But you got some other impactful pieces of injury news. Kyle Lowry being the biggest one. He's a game time decision, status truly up in the air. We don't know if he's going to play or not, right? So how can we feel confident about anything Tyler Herro related until we get confirmation on Kyle Lowry's status? I can't really go in depth and talk about this one. We don't know what Tyler Herro's prop lines are going to be. We don't know what his points are going to be set at. So you got Lowry and Martin, 2 guys who are typically in the starting lineup. Their statuses are unknown at the moment. So it's really hard for us to talk about anything Tyler Herro related, Miami Heat related. I mean, there are no props on the board until we get confirmation on Lowry and Martin. So we're waiting on PrizePicks at this point. So Mr. Shaolin, you're going to have to wait on that Tyler Herro question until we get some more news. But your last one was Julius Randle for first half over. Again, gang, if you guys have questions, feel free to super chat me. It helps support the show. Get your comment highlighted. I'll do a deep dive research like I have here for Mr. Ja Morant. But let's look at Julius Randle. So you're thinking maybe going first half on Randle. First half what, though? Are we thinking first half points? Are we thinking first half PRA? Are we thinking first half fantasy score for Julius Randle? My problem with Randle and his fantasy score is he's typically not a shot blocker. He's typically not a steal maker, right? And he is also notorious for turning the basketball over. But when you open up his game logs here, you see his fantasy scores 5 for 5. You could look at his PRA, 4 for 5, not quite as good as the fantasy score. And then you've also got his points, which are 4 for 5. All right, so out of the last 5 games, the prop that's been hitting at the highest rate is his fantasy score. I wish he could record a block and a steal a little bit more often. I wish he wouldn't turn it over quite as much, but let's look at Julius Randle here. First half, we'll go FanDuel points logs using StatMuse. And we'll take a look at all the different ways you can play Julius Randle and which one's been hitting at the highest clip in recent games. So he's set at 12.5 points, right? So just taking a look at the points here, he's hit his points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of his last 6 on the points. That's not too shabby. What about the fantasy score at 20.5? Well, he's hit that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's 6 for 6 on the fantasy score, 5 for 6 on the points. So the fantasy score actually has been hitting at a slightly higher rate than the points over the last several games. We'll say the last 6 games. 6 for 6 on fantasy score, 5 for 6 on the points. Now there are times, it's rare, but there are times where he hits his points but does not hit his fantasy score. It is very rare. Let's see if we could find one. Like this one right here against the Golden State Warriors. Against the Warriors, he had 13 actual points in 15 minutes of game time. Managed just 14.6 fantasy points in that game. So he would have hit the points with 13, but he would have missed the fantasy score with just 14.6 first half fantasy points versus the Warriors. All right, so it can happen. Although it's rare, it can happen. In this case, look, against OKC, 13 points would have covered the points, but he would have tied his fantasy score in the first half with 20.5. Normally, you'll see a correlation. When he scores well, he's usually hitting his fantasy score. But like against Philadelphia, 13 points, ended up with 14.6 first half fantasy points. So there's a few game logs in there. One being against tonight's opponent, the Golden State Warrior. But you can see that there are some games in there where he'll clear the 12.5 first half points, but won't clear the fantasy score. Those would probably be my leading 2 options, though, either points or fantasy score. Again, in recent games, he's 6 for 6 on fantasy, 5 for 6 on the points. Let's take it a step further. Let's look at how he's done against the Golden State Warriors since joining the New York Knicks, right? So you see his game logs here. First half fantasy score is what we're looking at. His fantasy score set at 20.5. He's cleared this in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6 games since joining the Knicks. So he's 4 for 6 on first half fantasy score versus the Warriors since joining the Knicks. Well, what about his points? His points are sitting at 12.5. How many times has he done that? 13 or more points in the first half versus the Warriors. Well, 1, 2. 2 for 6. All right, so he's got a higher hit rate historically on first half fantasy score versus the Warriors than he does first half points versus the Warriors. Okay, so for me, I guess I would have to lean toward the fantasy score at 20.5. He's been hitting it more recently. He's hit this historically more against the Golden State Warriors. Yes, he had the game earlier this season with 13 points, but fell short of his fantasy score versus the Warriors in that game. That doesn't happen a whole lot. Caught him on a bad day, I would say. Let's take a look at the DVP here. Power forwards, season averages, and we're looking at fantasy score. We go down, we find the Golden State Warriors. They're giving up about 43. We'll call it 44 for some easier numbers to deal with here. 44 fantasy points per game for the season. So that breaks down to about 22 fantasy points per half to power forwards. He needs 20.6 or more. They're giving up about 22 per half to power forwards. All right. And then we'll look at the last 7 games as well. Last 7 games, Golden State giving up about 42. So slightly fewer by 2 points fewer fantasy points per game to power forwards in their last 7 games. So they're doing a better job defending against power forwards when it comes to total fantasy points allowed. But still, that comes out to about 21 fantasy score per half, slightly more than the 20.5 that Julius Randle is set at. Again, he needs 20.6. Fantasy score is unique because you can have a number like 20.6 and go over 20.5. So that's kind of the breakdown for Julius Randle. I guess for me, I would rank these in this order. I'd probably go fantasy score first and foremost. Then I would probably choose the points, and then I would probably choose the PRA last. But hey, what do I know? Nothing. None of us do, in fact. Nobody knows anything. We're all just guessing. My best guess, I'd choose the fantasy score personally. So hopefully that helps you out and helps you make a smarter, wiser, better decision tonight. Again, if you're just getting here, we talked about the Taco. Taco is not free. He's got a 50% hit rate at 21.5 points when playing at home. It's not free by any means, but yeah, you kind of have to take it, being that he's at 24.5 points on these sports books and being bet over at 24.5. So either that's just donkeys betting the over at 24.5 points, or maybe it's sharp, good money coming in on the over at 24.5 on these sports books. But either way, if they're betting it over at 24.5, I think we should be considering betting it over at 21.5. Again, not a free square. It can fail. He's only hit this in 50% of his home games. We know there's risk involved, okay? You've been warned. All right, let's see here. Oh, we got some new subscribers. Thank you to Jamal Silvano for subscribing. Kiara Brown, thank you for subscribing. Patrick, thank you. And Eric Kovacs, appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, Julius Randle projection for his points. Yes, Jado, I don't know if you missed it or not, but he's projected for 24.5 points. Again, that's just one projection model. Fantasy Labs, Action Labs projections have him at 24.5 points, but check out some of those other sites out there. You got like Betting Pros. I think they do point projections. I think Number Fire's got some point projections. You can compare different projection models and kind of aggregate what their projections are for points for Julius Randle. So consider that. Anyway, what else are we liking today? I don't think I missed any other super chats. We're at right about 1 o'clock. So we'll just scan through the board real quick and we'll see what we got here. Utah versus Detroit. I talked about Bogdanovich at 21.5 points. He's been hot. It's a revenge game. Could be a good way to go for Bogdanovich. Let's just quickly punch him in here. Yeah, he's a slight betting favorite at 21.5 points, minus 125 and minus 130 to go over. He's as high as 22.5 on some books. So maybe Bogdanovich for more than 21.5 points could be a good look for you. Again, this is just kind of like a quick run through. Not super in-depth, detailed research. I save all that for Patreon due to time constraints here on YouTube. I've only got so much that I can cover in so little time. We talked about Clarkson. His turnovers have been good. I'm backing off of him today, though. I just think Clarkson with Colin Sexton re-entering the mix, I'm going to probably stay away from that one. Detroit hasn't been very good defensively when it comes to defending opposing bigs. Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart haven't been doing a great job defensively. Lauri Markkanen's been pretty hot, so if you wanted to go Markkanen maybe for like over on Markkanen's points, we could take a quick peek at Lauri Markkanen. He's at 21.5 on most books, so we're not really seeing any value. 20.5 on PointsBet, so no, Markkanen's going to probably be a fade for me, but the matchup is probably a pretty good one going up against the Pistons. Outside of that, Killian Hayes has done a pretty good job in recent games in terms of covering his assists. Maybe you go with his assist prop once again against the Utah Jazz. I don't hate that. Chicago, Miami, I think we've talked about this. Miami, just going to wait on the news, you know. Tyler Herro's a popular option. Jimmy Butler's going to be a popular option, but it really all boils down to is Kyle Lowry and or Martin going to be playing tonight. For the Chicago Bulls, going up against the Miami Heat, Bam Adebayo, maybe you go like a Vucevic rebound prop against Bam. They've been giving up some rebounds to the Miami Heat bigs, Bam Adebayo, Dwayne Dedmon, etc. So you could go that route. We saw DeMar DeRozan kind of fall flat on his face against the Knicks in their last game. Maybe DeRozan's due for a little bit of a bounce back. DeRozan for second half has been very good. So if you're looking for like some late game, like second half plays, check out DeMar DeRozan and what he's been doing in the second half. Again, he kind of fell short against the New York Knicks, had a kind of a down game, but outside of that, DeRozan in the second half has been a very good play. Golden State versus New York, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole probably going to have bigger roles tonight with Dante DiVincenzo unlikely to play. You already got Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins out, so be looking at some Poole and Thompson stats. I think both those guys are going to do well. New York Knicks, some of you guys are saying Jalen Brunson. Brunson's been scoring the ball very well, so you could go like Brunson points versus a beat-up Golden State Warriors defense. I don't mind that. Maybe some Brunson three-point makes could be a good look for you. Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle have actually both been rebounding the ball very well, so keep your eye on Julius Randle's boards and or Mitchell Robinson's rebounds. I think Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle have been pretty good at cleaning the glass lately. Still waiting on Phoenix Suns news. Not really loving anything from there at this point until we get confirmation on Devin Booker's status. Is he in? Is he out? We don't know yet. As far as the Washington Wizards go, Bradley Beal could be in a good spot. He's still kind of maybe working off some of that rust. You know, he's sat out for a number of games, so I'm not quite sure I want to jump on that yet. Porzingis been scoring the ball really well, so that could be a good look. Memphis at Denver, Ja Morant, I don't mind his fantasy points. We talked about him already. Outside of that, you know, it's going to be the Denver Nuggets news. We're waiting on news on Jamal Murray, Jeff Green, KCP. So kind of a wait and see approach tonight. I'm not going to like jump to anything and take anything too hastily, but that's kind of just what's going on and what we can expect. But appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody joining me. It's a little after 1 o'clock, so we're going to wrap this thing up. Don't want to keep it too long with just a few games. Guys, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to jump in the Discord. I'll do my best to answer those questions for you, or comment your favorite pick. All right, if you want to win one of these risk-free 2-pick power plays on PrizePicks to score $100, all you have to do, gang, be a subscriber, slap the like button, leave a comment once I end the show and the replay goes up on YouTube. Comment your favorite pick, and I'll select somebody on tomorrow's show to win a risk-free 2-pick power play over on PrizePicks. Hopefully today's information helped you out. If it did, well, we'll catch you in the next one. All right, guys? Peace.